Rambo is an American media franchise centered on a series of action films featuring John J. Rambo. Rambo is a United States Army Special Forces veteran played by Sylvester Stallone, whose Vietnam War experience traumatized him, but also gave him superior military skills, which he has used to fight corrupt police officers, enemy troops, and drug cartels. First Blood is an adaptation of the 1972 novel First Blood by David Morrell. But now let's see who should have played Rambo and how the film's script evolved. It all began in 1972 when Columbia Pictures bought the rights to First Blood for $75,000, and Richard Brooks was the first director chosen. Brooks' idea was to expose the fucking abuse of power in provincial America, thus the badass sheriff's badassery rather than Rambo's heroism. So much so that Brooks's version included Rambo's death in cold blood. The director proposed Lee Marvin, or Burt Lancaster, to play the sheriff. Brooks was actually never satisfied with the damn script and asked Columbia for even more time to rewrite it all. Columbia, after waiting patiently for a year, decided to fire the sluggish director and then sold the rights to Warner, who bought them for $125,000. Warner Brothers chose Martin Ritt as director to start the project, with Robert De Niro, Paul Newman, and Clint Eastwood courted for the lead role, the legendary John Rambo. But again, development of the film stalled, seemed to allege some kind of curse in the script. Warner chose other directors, but none seemed to be suitable. For the role of Rambo, they thought of Al Pacino, Travolta, and from Nick Nolte to Chuck Norris. And then on to Terence Hill. But even the Italian actor turned down the offer because he felt the film was too violent. The producers told him to take the part or his career would go down the fucking toilet. It was then that Terence Hill planned the Great Escape, suddenly disappearing one morning only to return to Italy traumatized.
I see dead people.
No one in Hollywood seemed really intent on turning First Blood into a movie. It needed a good dose of ambition and a dash of madness, and Andrew Vena and Mario Cassara seemed the only ones with those qualities. 1981. The two decided they wanted to produce a film on their own, with their own production company, the Carolco. They bought the blessed rights for almost $400,000. It was a risky gamble. Immediately, they commissioned Ted Kotcheff as director. The idea of the two producers was to lighten the social denunciation of the book, to expand the theme of the underdog who manages to triumph despite multiple adversities. In fact, Vena and Cassara's trump card would have been Sylvester Stallone himself, author and performer of Rocky. Already an established star with the two Rocky films, Slay was looking for a film that would show him in a light other than that of the boxer. So he agreed to be part of the film, provided, however, that he made changes to the script, and especially to the main character. Slay immediately had some ideas. The first was to make Rambo less sociopathic and violent, thus increasing the heroic and humane charge, eliminating ruthlessness, so much so that in the film the poor people killed by Rambo from 16 dropped to 0. The second was to avoid the death of the protagonist and the bastard Sheriff Tyson. So after 26 scripts and 10 years of gestation, a glimmer of light was seen. It was Kotcheff himself who chose Brian Dennehy to play the role of the sheriff. So finally the day of shooting was approaching. Not without problems caused by the continual twisting of the script, and with Vena and Cassara already at risk of broken bank. The film was shot mainly in British Columbia between October 1981 and January 1982. Not without difficulty, having to shoot amidst the damn cold and freezing weather, and multiple accidents that happened on the set, delaying the end of filming. Stallone himself was seriously injured shooting some dangerous scenes, such as the part where he threw himself into trees. The branch he hit broke his rib, so much so that the screams you hear in the film are real and genuine, screams filled with real pain. Now let's look at a curiosity about Rambo. Moral for the book was inspired by the American hero, Audie Murphy, particularly his suffering from untreated post-traumatic stress disorder in the post-war years. But for his hero, Moral could not find an appropriate name. His wife came home after shopping, seeing him thoughtful, and asked him if there was anything he could do. He asked what she had bought him to eat, and she replied, "Delicious Rambo apples." It was immediately love. That name full of power, worthy of a true alpha man, became legend. The rest is history.